Hi, Mike.
Hi, Phil.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah,
What
what's
are
up?
we drinking today?
We're drinking Toronto's finest tap water.
Yes, we are.
Um, whatever's in there. Who
I
knows
don't.
what?
I don't. So like,
You have a
I
water
I
filter system? No.
I don't have a water filter system.
Yeah.
That's true. But I also I start off every episode with telling like a fun fact about whatever
Okay.
we're drinking.
Yeah. Okay.
So for example, what was it? The first episode was a dirty martini, which
Mhm.
like dated back to like 1910.
Yeah.
Whiskey sour. Whiskey was big in like water purifying back in the day, which
Okay.
is where whiskey sours came from apparently.
Yeah.
And then spicy margaritas, not actually a Hispanic invention. They originated in New York from
Yeah.
Hispanic
Seems
people. Yeah.
Americanized. Yeah.
So it's like
Tell me something about gin. Do you know anything about gin? That's usually my like go-to. Like,
gin's a big like British liquor.
okay.
Floral notes.
Yeah.
James Bond, big fan.
Yeah.
He drinks gin martinis, not vodka martinis. So
Okay.
anytime you hear like a shaken, not stirred,
Yeah.
he's asking for a gin shaken, which is even more off-brand. Like vodka martinis, I think traditionally are
Yeah.
supposed to be shaken, but
Okay.
as a gin martini, it like needs to be stirred. So he's
Yeah.
being extra assholey about it when he says
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it like what the air mixes in with it and it like changes the flavor? Like what's like
So the difference between shaking and stirring is when you shake something, you're breaking up the ice and
Mhm.
adding volume to the drink.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get like ice chips and stuff, and it's more to like break down things.
Okay.
So when all
Like
you
water
have
it down, kind of like soften it.
water it down, but also like let's say you have like strawberries in there. I'm not for a
Mhm.
martini, but like if
Yeah.
you have strawberries or mint or
Mhm.
wherever, when you shake it, it breaks it up and lets all the oils and flavors infuse better into
Yeah.
the drink. Versus stirring, its only purpose is to chill the liquor,
Oh,
and
makes sense.
if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
stir a lot, then you can dilute it as well.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
that's the main difference between shaking and stirring. So when James Bond does that, he's just doing it to be an asshole.
Okay. I don't think I've ever like ordered a specifically shaken martini.
Do you order martinis?
Usually, no. I'm like a big gin and seven guy.
Gin and seven.
Yeah, like gin and tonic when we're really feeling the gin fell over when we're really feeling ruthless. But yeah, I don't know. Usually that's like my go-to.
Fair, but we're not drinking today.
No.
Because it's for the first time it's pre-noon,
Yeah.
and second, you don't drink very often. You drink
No.
special occasions. You drink
Yeah.
birthdays, celebrations, but not like a regular enjoyer as I am.
Have you ever seen me drink? Like ever?
I think so.
I think
Like,
my birthday I might have drank. Like,
Yeah,
last
but
year.
if you did, like it was like you had a drink.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't chase it. I guess everyone has like their vice, and that's like not one of my
Mm.
vices. Never really like in university had that like super drinking phase either.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just doesn't really do anything for me. Or I guess I don't like get the, and like people have it to like relax. Or
Yep.
whatever. Doesn't I don't really get that relaxation, so I guess that's why I don't chase it. Doesn't really like hit like it does for other people.
Right.
Yeah. Like what does it do for you when you like do you feel it's like a placebo, or do you actually like feel more at ease?
Well,
you
like
know?
I don't think I'm an alcoholic, but
Yeah.
with any addiction or any addictive substance for that matter or addictive practice, it definitely scratches an itch.
Okay. Yeah.
Like when you talk a lot to like cigarette smokers or vapors or
Yeah.
alcoholics, it's a lot of the time what they say is the addiction aspect is it just feels like
Home.
sure, it feels comforting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like it's like there is a something that is wrong and it fixes it,
Okay.
which is the addiction saying, hey, give it to me. It's the craving. So there's one part of it that's just get like feeling right, getting back to baseline when you actually have an addiction.
Do you want to
When
get into what do you feel is wrong that you're filling the void? Is it too
Sure.
deep?
We
Do
we
you
can get
actually
into
feel
that.
like when you have a drink, it like is filling something? Do you feel like you're compensating for something?
Not necessarily a
It's
compensation,
not that
but
deep.
it definitely. I mean, okay, for me personally, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's more of just like the amount of me that is addicted to alcohol
Mm-hmm.
gets satisfied. Like that feedback loop gets quenched, for lack of a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Like the button gets pressed, the
Mm-hmm.
scratch gets itched.
Okay.
It's not a super strong scratch for me, and it's
Yeah.
not something that I really notice during my day. But I
Mhm.
do notice when I have a drink, something. It feels like
Like the last missing puzzle piece gets put in.
kinda
Okay.
like okay, like when your girl starts scratching your back.
Yeah.
Your back wasn't itchy beforehand,
But you enjoy it.
but as soon as she starts scratching, suddenly your entire back is itchy.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
I guess that's the best way I can describe
Okay.
drinking from as someone who doesn't deem themselves to be an alcoholic.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy. Do you feel like your like environment and your like work kind of fuels it?
Oh,
Like
100%.
you kind of have to, I
100%.
guess. Like it's kind of hard to not drink every now and then.
Ironically enough, some of the people who like are the most anti-alcohol or most like serious about sobriety
Yeah.
are people in my industry.
Is that just
because
because they've seen so many people like just go?
I think
tank their
that,
lives?
and because some people go so hard early
Mhm.
on because
Yeah.
they just suddenly have all this money, whatever,
Mhm.
and they're like, I can do whatever I want,
Yeah.
and then they start like they put themselves in a real hole, and they're like, okay,
Chill.
I need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
So the part of me with the industry that has made me a little more self-aware in the way of having to be careful is with blow. Never touched it, don't plan on it by any means, because I would probably like it. I would probably really enjoy it, and that is a slippery slope with most things in my life that I enjoy. When you enjoy something, you do it again.
Do you feel like you have like an addictive personality? Like when you find something you enjoy, you really go like balls to the wall with it?
Yes and no. Like again, with alcohol, like I drink, but like
Mm-hmm.
I almost never drink alone. Like it is so bloody rare that I drink alone.
Yeah.
It's more of a social thing for me, and
Mhm.
I don't like if I wanted to stop drinking tomorrow, it'd be difficult, and I would be up like a little sad about it, but
Yeah.
not because I think I have a crippling addiction to it. I need to get through my days. More
Yeah.
because I'm just like, well, I just wanted to drink,
Is
whatever.
is that all yours? Is that
That's all
shared?
mine.
Okay.
But all
Is
of that,
are we labeling that a problem, or is that
all of that is for making my friends cocktails when they come over.
okay?
Like again, I have all of that liquor. If you notice, pretty much every bottle's full. Some of
Yeah,
them are a
I've
little bit
noticed-
low,
okay. Okay.
but only for the fact that like,
Full because you've replaced them recently, or full because
well, both. But, like put it this way, the vodka's pretty low because a lot of people who enjoy cocktails, vodka's a very big cocktail liquor.
Yeah, that
Like
makes sense.
espresso martinis, regular
Mhm.
martinis, vodka sodas, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
that's low. But like, I have 2 bottles of bourbon there. They're both over 30, like 3/4 of the way full. I have a uncracked bottle of peach schnapps just in case I ever need to fucking do something with it. But it doesn't feel like a necessity in my life. It's just something that I enjoy getting to enjoy.
Mhm.
When I was smoking weed, which I don't do anymore, I smoked a lot of weed, and then it just wasn't serving me. It was making me anxious. It was making me dislike people that I was around. There's so much with it that I just did not enjoy that I put it down, and I was like, I don't care about this. Have I smoked weed since then? Yeah, but like it was like I quit, and then I smoked like maybe 2 times
Mhm.
after I said I was done, and now I haven't in 2 years, and I don't really miss it. The only thing that I semi miss is like the social aspect of being like, hey, like you want
Around
to ball up
people?
tonight?
Yeah, it's like kind of like a hangout excuse almost.
Yeah, but I don't like hanging out with people when
For
I'm
that
high.
purpose.
So
Or
I
that
would,
too.
yeah. So I would rather be. If they want to smoke, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. I'll show up. We can hang out. We can have a fun time.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want to do, and if you're comfortable and feel fine doing it, awesome.
Do you feel like if you were to like, I guess from, I don't know, we'll say like high school, from like high school till now, if majority of the people you'd have spent your time around like were like anti alcohol, anti everything, would you have ever like even dabbled with it at all? Like, do you feel like you just would have been like, I don't know, I guess you would have filled it with something else?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know how I
Bingo.
got there, but I got into Mormon TikTok,
Mormon. Okay, yeah, I feel like I get those every now and then.
and
Yeah,
a lot of it is these
I
people.
see a lot. Don't they have a lot of like soda shops? I see
Yeah,
they're really big into like
yeah, like
mixed,
Diet
like,
Coke and shit.
yeah, they have like just specialty like they have Tim Hortons, but it's like soda shops, like how we have Tim
Oh,
Hortons.
really?
Yeah, and it's only in I think like Utah. Where are the
I
Mormons
think
at?
it's somewhere around Utah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I
'Cause-
want to go just to experience the soda shops because
Yeah.
apparently it's like out of the world. Like,
I don't know. I don't know about the sodas, but I get like BSU.
is that a university?
It's a university in Utah, I'm pretty sure.
Is that where they get married? Like the first month of date? Yeah. I get those ones. Yeah.
So I
yeah.
get like the soaking videos
Yeah.
where they're like, yeah, you just insert it and get your friend to shake the bed, and then
Yeah.
it's not premarital sex, which is
Yeah.
fucking wild. But all those people are like, yeah, like I've never had alcohol in my life. My
They
favorite,
don't drink like at
no,
all?
they don't drink.
No? Okay.
Yeah, because the guy will be like, what's your favorite party drink? And they'll
Yeah.
be like, soda.
DC.
DC.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, have you ever watched a rated R movie? And they're like, either of these say no, or they
Yeah.
use a website called VidAngel, which like
censors it.
I think either censors it or cuts out every part of the movie that isn't okay.
What's like the reasoning behind like is their religion just like super strict on everything?
From what I
Even
understand.
like movies and things like that?
Apparently.
Like what's like strict? Like no kissing before? Like no like
If you, I mean,
can
like,
they
listen,
smoke? Like
I
what's
don't think they can smoke.
nothing?
I
Okay.
doubt it. I don't know for sure, but I mean, considering the fact that they're allowed to quote unquote, if sticking it in and
That's
having
just
your
a
bed
weird
shake the
loophole
bed,
that they've
yeah.
created though.
But I'm saying if that loophole has been created and technically exists, I feel like they can probably kiss out of wedlock. That's probably
Yeah.
fine.
Or like they sit in a room with like a smoker and like they're like trying to experience it or
Yeah, like
something,
someone else
something
smokes
weird,
and like
like
blows it in their face.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't smoke it, so
So it
it's
wasn't me.
whatever. But anyway, so I see stuff like that, and I get and like 100% your environment is a massive factor into the things that you get into, what you want to get, what you do with your days, what you do with your life. But I think it would like if I honestly, because I did a lot of like clubbing and partying pre-COVID when I was like 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got it out of my system then. So now that I'm introduced to, or I'm in an environment with a lot of people who are very much so still in their going out, clubbing, having fun, drinking phase.
Do you feel like that's a lot of people?
Oh yeah.
Around? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It doesn't really intrigue me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, been there, done that. Not my scene.
Yeah.
It just isn't. But if when I was growing up in high school or university, if I was never surrounded by that stuff and it wasn't something that I did or
Mm-hmm.
got out of my system, I feel like once I would have gotten indoctrinated into this, I might have gone way fucking harder and been like, yeah, let's go out. It's Tuesday, this book club. Wednesday, this club.
Yeah.
I know the promoter on Thursdays at this club.
Yeah.
Like I would be getting it out of my system now.
Mm.
So so I think the roundabout long-winded answer to your question is it depends if that was my environment my entire life or if it would have to change based off of the change of my environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the only reason you would have, I guess, if you didn't get exposed to it before and then you would have came back to it later on, like let's say now, is only because you know it's like an option, like because you like, I don't know, it's an option here in Canada, North America, but like if you grew up, I don't know, some rural part of
Utah.
Sure, yeah. If you would agree, yeah, exactly. If you would have been a Mormon, it would have never even been, I don't know, I guess a temptation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, though, you have to, regardless of how you get into it or whatever, or where you're at in life, there's always the room for improvement. And
Yes. This
you
podcast is sponsored by Improvement.
Sponsored by David Goggins.
Yeah. He said I'm allowed to come on here and speak on his behalf. So
He gave us the credit.
Yeah.
You, sir, have been and are a person who I look up to in the way of the things that you've been able to accomplish from a perspective of self-improvement and doing better and being better in pretty much every aspect of your life that I can look at.
What's like one thing you would pick out that you not envy, but I guess you kind of look up to? But like, he's doing that, I want to do that.
Yeah, maybe I used the word lightly, but I don't want to say your stoicism, because I don't look at you and be like,
like I'm always like,
you're stoic, you're just a blank slate.
Yeah.
But your ability to choose how you react to things.
Okay.
Like
do you actually pick up on that? Like
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like I've seen situations, like not like huge situations, but like I've seen things happen where I'd be bothered, and you're just like, okay,
yeah, cool.
So, did something happen in your life that caused you to want to be this way?
Yeah.
Or what is your journey of self-improvement and controlled reactivity? How did that come to be?
Yeah, well, my parents went to like a cave, and they got a big granite mold, and they chiseled me out of it, and that's why I'm always like
perfect
like that. But like stoic. No, I used to be like, I was bullied a lot growing up. I used to be really fat, and I was really overweight. It's kind of hard not to be when you're, I guess, in an Italian household. It's like I feel like it's like a roll of the dice. You either end up super skinny or you end up fat.
Yeah.
So I ended up fat. Yeah, I don't know. You just naturally, the food is like carbs, and like nothing's ever.
You like it or you don't.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, I'm full, I'm gonna stop eating. Like, no, you're gonna keep eating.
There's food on your plate.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as I can remember, I think when I was like, at least from like kindergarten, I was probably always chubby. And then high school got worse because I went to high school that none of my friends went to, for reasons we won't get into, but it's basically like easier for my commute and my parents and whatever. So like, you're just going to go here. And I was like, okay, but everyone's going here. And also the school in my area of my elementary school weren't like the greatest. So they're like, you probably will have a better life outcome if you go to a better high school. So I did that. And then because I didn't know anybody, like grade 9, I don't know, probably put on like 80, 70 pounds. Like,
really?
Yeah, I got like
in 1 year.
Yeah, probably like over a year. Like I used to wear like the double, triple XL shirts.
Wow.
Yeah, I was big. I was like 230, but like 230 like fat.
Yeah.
So it's like not like 240.
Not like C-bum 230.
No, not C-bum 240. Like C-bum like but fat. Yeah, and then I was like that for until like grade 11. And obviously you get like, even if you don't get like directly bullied, you know, you're so anxious all the time because people are always looking at you. And regardless of whether you think people are looking at you, you just assume they are, because you're like, oh, like I'm not supposed to, you're not supposed to be that way. You're like, why is everyone else not as big as me? So yeah, and I think naturally with that, you learn to have like tougher skin, but you also learn to like, you try and fit in a lot, so you become a lot more shy and quiet. So that's maybe where the stoicism comes in, because you're not trying to be outspoken at all. You know,
like you're preventing yourself from wearing your heart on your sleeve to protect it.
Yeah, I'm not like, you never want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be the spotlight. So you're always just trying to
blend in.
Kind of, yeah. So yeah, and then around like grade 11, I started like boxing, and then I basically like lost most of the weight. Same thing over a year, and then
That's some crazy fucking up and down.
yeah, it is. It was never really like normal, I guess. I was either one extreme or the other. And then basically when I came back this summer of from grade 11, so going into grade 12, everyone's like, well, what happened to the old you? Like, this is not you. They're like obviously shocked that I lost all the weight. And then with that, I was like, I think I got like super skinny. So I like took it to another extreme because I was like, I don't know how to put on muscle. I'm just going to lose weight.
Yeah. What'd you get down to?
Maybe like 170, 160.
For your frame, that's
I wasn't
fucking...
I had like no muscle mass. I was just like skinny, but like, and then I started getting into running around that time. So now I'm like trying to get skinny and running, and I had like elbows on nutrition and anything. So I'm just like basically like a stick. And then university, I like started to try and put on muscle and kind of learn, and then these last like 2-3 years I've really kind of like dialed it in, trying to actually like, you know, read and get some proper knowledge before I like do these ventures. So
and like, because when I look at you now, like, you look like you're just a very like healthy weight.
Okay.
Like and like, so like what happened with your relationship with food? Because I feel like that went from being able to gain 70 to 80 pounds in a year, dropping 70, 80 pounds in a year, and not really knowing, at that time at least, not really knowing what you were doing in the gym, or it was less of like a working out thing and more of just a lack of eating or surplus of eating way.
Yeah.
So where have you ended up with food?
Yeah, food was never really like, there was never any like eating disorders, anything like that. I just didn't like care to learn about what I was eating. I was like, oh, it's food, like just don't eat a lot of it or eat a lot of it. Like it wasn't but I think like 80% of it is food, and like 20% of it is like your habits, and you're only spending how many hours realistically throughout the week in a gym. Like it's your day-to-day decisions that impact your frame and everything, right?
Even if you're Goggins and working out multiple times a day, 7 days a week, like really, like what, 3 hours a day on a week scale? That's 21 hours, which is fucking crazy, first of all.
Yeah. Well, probably more for Goggins, but for the
probably more for Goggins, yeah. But like, let's say like you're your everyday Goggins, and you hit like a 21-hour gym week. That is still less than 1 day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I think I just stopped. I remember in high school I'd eat a lot of like frozen foods. I think it was probably just like didn't know how to cook. I was like probably lazy. And then I stopped all that, and I just started reading more on like nutrition and I don't know, I guess like environmental factors, tap water, and like supplements, and you know, things you put in your body. And then now I'm always more mindful of like, I won't count my calories, but I'll have like a rough estimate day to day. So like right now I'm cutting, so I'll be tracking it more frequently than if I was just like maintaining, trying to live, whatever. But I think as long as you have like that self-awareness of like each meal, like what are you eating? Like, is it, you know, eating McDonald's, or are you just eating like something you made? Like even that's a big difference there too. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into nutrition. I don't know like how much you've read on it in terms of like just like the artificial sweeteners and things like that. Like there's if you can go on like a deep dive, there's a lot of like basically garbage in food that you can buy, and you wouldn't think twice about it.
No, I mean, like, having a kin background and all the rest of it, there definitely is I'm aware enough about when it purely comes to a weight conversation. Calories in, calories out.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it comes to protein synthesis, muscle building, when it comes to general health and well-being, don't fucking like the Sam Sulek diet.
Don't eat Tren for breakfast.
Don't eat Tren for breakfast with a side of donuts. Like that's not gonna bode so well. You'll get your calories 100%.
If you want, I think he wants to be a professional bodybuilder, so it's kind of the route he has to take. You know what I mean?
but
for the average person, don't.
Absolutely
But if you want to go down that route, sure.
But I mean, if you look at a lot of other professional bodybuilders, though,
they also like
they eat clean
for the most part.
For the most part,
yeah.
Like again, like they get to get away with some things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Michael Phelps, I think, said that he was eating 8,000 calories when he was training for the Olympics.
Yeah,
which like at that point you need to be eating some garbage
if you're living in the pool.
Yeah. Or but I feel like Sebum, like he's probably like, especially like a few weeks. I mean, when he's pure bulk, he's probably packing down whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
But then when he's getting to the cutting phase and whatever, he's probably still maintaining 3,500 calories a day, but of like lean chicken breast, broccoli, like plain white rice. His sodium intake is probably through the fucking roof. It's just salt on everything.
Have you seen any of his videos, like the prep videos?
They're fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
He has like 7 meals a day.
Yeah, and they'll have to be like measured out to the like exact gram.
Yeah.
But you can't. He's number one for a reason, though. So.
Yeah, and it makes sense why they do it.
Yeah.
But as far as your physical improvements, which again are impressive, go, and which also like show why you are like why you may not be a super reactive person. I am more envious, for lack of a better word, or impressed with, for a better word, your mental growth as a human. Because if someone, considering I was like, as someone who, that's a better way to say that, as someone who was also bullied growing up, I can relate to a lot of the things you're saying about wanting to blend in or not be have the attention on you. Granted, I think I was a little bit of the opposite. I was bullied for things that I was bullied for, so I flipped the switch and always wanted to be the center of attention in some things because I felt like I wasn't getting attention.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But regardless, when did you start having like more of like an actual mentality shift and and when it comes to like your relationships with other guys, with women, with whatever, you've been one of the people that I know that's like, listen, brother, if she does not respect you, that's all you have to know. There's no hate, there's no anger.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You move. And like you told me a story once or Vince might have told me the story about you, where you were seeing some girl and you really liked her and she was awesome, and then you were like, hey, I'm gonna come up for homecoming, and she was like, no, you're not, and you were like, okay, and you ended things. And then you were like, that sucked, I liked her, but I'm not doing that. And the ability to do that, the ability to walk away, is something that I to this day still struggle with. And it's impressive that, and it's not like you don't feel the same feelings that everyone else feels when situations like that happen. But your mental equippedness, for lack of a better way to say that, your mental ability to be like, I know this is gonna hurt, I know this is what I want, or not this isn't what my brain is telling me that I want, whatever, but being able to be like, no, I deserve better for myself, is very admirable. And I would like to know how you feel like you got there. How do you acquire that skill?
I've always wanted to, like, I think as far as I can remember, I've always wanted to be my current self, like the version, but I didn't know how to get there, and it was just so hard. It just seemed like it's like one of the most like difficult things if you wanna. I'm like I'll give you advice, like if it seems like you want to get there, obviously it's the most difficult thing probably you'll ever do, just because every day you basically have to lie to yourself and say that you already are that person, and you have to like beat a dead horse of like, I feel certain things in certain situations, but I have to act a completely different way than my natural response, and you just have to like every day like basically beat it into yourself. And like, I don't know, a lot of the content that you watch too will like influence that, and like always, I don't know, the books you read, and just constantly try and surround yourself with what you're feeding yourself with, like that kind of mindset. Maybe that's why I like Goggins so much, because he kind of has like that mentality. But you have to be very mindful of the people you're hanging around with, and like if they're have like, I don't know, like the suckers mentality of like nothing can go well for me and whatever, and
That
you have to really refine your life. And I'd say like do I think Goggins says like an after action report, like do an after action report. You've probably heard Vince talk about it.
Honestly, I think that's a new one.
Okay, so basically after action report is like take your day, or take the situation, like look at it on paper and go, what happened, what went well, what did you do wrong, whatever. Like force yourself to then say like, what did I do wrong, like why am I being like fraud, what would the version of myself that I want to become, what would they or what would he do in that situation that I didn't do. So like you can, I don't know, I guess after the pod you can look at your life and go, what, the way that I'm acting now, is that how, who I want to be? Would they act that same way? And then that's like for you to decide, obviously, if you want to like whatever path you want to go down. But yeah, it's just, you have to really always kind of pick the toughest situation too. Like you always, whenever you're put in, I don't know, a life opportunity or something, if it makes you scared, you have to do it. Like anything that's tough, you have to go and do it. And that's just for the fact that it's tough. And then you get to build like that mental callus. Well, and then that builds the stoicism, because you're always used to being in uncomfortable and difficult situations. So like whenever you do come with one, you're like, oh, that's like normal, regular day for me. So
did you I haven't watched all of it yet. I don't want to, but have you watched the Huberman Goggins podcast?
No, but I want to start it.
I want to watch it.
It just came out, right?
Very recently, yeah. Again, I rate Goggins as a concept. I think he's a little bit fucking nuts, and I think there's
not saying be 100% him.
But with that said,
apart his life.
Honestly, that was more of a disclaimer for people watching, because I know how a lot of people feel about him.
Why they don't like him?
I feel like a lot of people dislike Goggins.
He's blunt and he's honest.
Exactly. But one of the things that Huberman was like giggling about, he was so excited, was new neuro research came out that there is a I forget what the part of the brain is called. Watch the Huberman podcast if you want that side of things. But anyways, scientists were starting to study this one aspect of the brain, and every time you choose to do something that you don't want to do, that part of your brain grows a little bit.
Like physically
really? Expands. Like it becomes larger. If you look at people with obesity,
a bigger head if you
get big head. If you look at people with obesity, if you look at people who die young, etc., all that or stupider people, or like less intelligent people, all of that, they'll have a smaller version of that that specific part of the brain. And long story short, Huberman describes it better. But their scientists are saying that is the part of your brain that gives you the will to live.
Okay, like kind of like your purpose.
It's like your purpose center of the brain.
Okay.
Where it's like, if you continuously keep doing things that you don't want to do, your brain recognizes that as, I still have the will to live, I still have the will to go. That part of your brain expands, and it keeps, and like the larger it gets, the easier it is to do those things and keep going and
push through
and etc. Which is super interesting.
That's why you should get into running. I'm gonna push running onto you. That's a big aspect of it. It's not like a coincidence. 100%. Like to go outside in the cold for 2 hours, like it's not like you don't want to go mentally, but you stay out there. That's like, I don't know. That's like, I feel like an easy maybe way to ease into that process is like running, because you most of the time you don't want to do it and it's not fun.
I was getting into running in the summer before I hurt myself.
What'd you hurt? Oh, your back, right?
It still isn't where I want it to be before I start reintroducing running into my life. My goals of currently when it comes to my back health is March. I want to not be in daily pain.
You're in daily pain?
Are
you in pain right now?
Like very, very low, like a 0.51, but like I can, It's like more like a discomfort in this moment than a pain right now.
What is it though? Like your lower back?
Yeah, it's like my erectors, my QL, my quadratus lumborum.
Why don't you get your spine fused?
I should. Just a total spine fusion.
Yeah, or just the lower half.
Yeah. Like it stems from me having sacroiliitis.
What is that like?
Inflammation of your sacroiliac joint. So your hip and like where like kind of like your ass and your back meet.
Yeah.
Before your coccyx, that whole joint's inflamed. Why? I would fucking love to know.
Have you ever like played around with your diet to see if what helps?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatory stuff is better. Eating well is better.
Yeah.
But even when I eat super clean, drink a lot of water, it's more about how much I'm working out. The best I've ever felt in my life when it comes to that was when I was working at my last job and I was doing Stairmaster every day. So my glutes got a lot stronger.
Yeah. What if you have a muscle imbalance and you don't like,
exactly.
You don't know. Yeah.
But regardless, when it comes to the doing something you don't want to do, I'm kind of treating the gym and this podcast that way. And that doesn't, and I don't want to say that as I don't enjoy doing this podcast. Because every time I sit down with whoever I'm sitting down with, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But there's always that thing in the back of your mind when you wake up or when you have it, or like you're like, okay, I got to go to work. And then after work, I have a podcast. And it's like, fuck. I want to just go home. I just want to sleep. Like I just want to relax.
Yeah.
I want to sit on my couch and have my coffee. I don't want to.
That's the problem. You want to relax.
I want to relax.
You have to like kill that part of you.
Yeah. Or like today, for example, Mike got me up earlier than I would normally wake up on.
What time would you normally wake up?
Today?
Yeah.
Probably like 11.
Is that a good answer? Would your future self approve of that?
Depends where my future self is, what job my future self is still working.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my sleep schedule, and also not for anything, but this was a bad choice that I made. I was out late last night, and I woke up and I had a shitty sleep because I knew that I had to wake up early, so I was in like a limbo of sleep, and I was lying in bed this morning when I was supposed to wake up, like fighting myself to get out of bed, and I was like, I looked at my, or I didn't, I mean, I couldn't really look at myself, but I thought to myself, I was like, you're gonna get up and you're gonna do this, not because you want to, but because you need to. You're gonna get up and you're gonna do it. So I got my ass out of bed, I wrote in my journal, I got in the shower, probably spent a little bit too much time in the shower because I was just enjoying it. I was just enjoying it. Yeah. Said, you little pussy bitch, cold shower time. Dropped that shit on cold. Did a good 10 seconds, pure cold water, shivering my tits off. Got out and said, all right, let's do it. I wanted so badly to just make my oatmeal, make my coffee, snuggle up with a little blankie on the couch, and just enjoy my early morning, 9 a.m. Yeah. But I was like, no. Plug in your batteries, start setting everything up. He's going to be here soon. And I'm like, you don't want to be a dickhead. And like he walks into you just being a little cozy, not dressed, not ready to go in the slightest. Like, what the fuck? Like that'd be disrespectful to you and your time as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're self-aware of that. I think you need to, on a daily basis, you need to stop telling yourself that you have like really a choice to do a lot of this stuff. Like you don't. Like if you look at it like, I have to get up. Like I don't have a choice to sleep in. And like kind of did. And yeah, like everything you do, like it's like, oh, do I want to run today? Like, oh, I don't have a choice. Like I'm running. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Like, oh, am I going to the gym? No. Like
one of the things I do in my journal is, one of the sections of it is what would make today great.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of setting affirmations of things that you want to do today. Okay, there we go. Perfect. We will finish this little segment, then we'll take a break. It's setting affirmations of things that you want to get done that day. And there are times where I'm like, what would make today good? Working out, going for a run, whatever it is. And I'll go to write it in the journal.
Yeah.
Have a good workout. That would make today great. And I put the pen to the paper. And then I stop because
Oh, you don't write it out?
No. Well, normally I write have a good workout, and then
Yeah.
in my subconscious for that day, I've already decided that I'm going to work out, and I
Yeah.
want it to be a good one. But on the days that I wake up and I know in my core that I don't want to work out, sometimes I'll purposely choose not to write it
Mm.
because then I feel less accountable for it.
Yeah. But you know you're self-sabotaging.
Oh,
So
100%.
but why
So
do
then
you
I
do it?
fucking then I write it
Oh,
out.
okay, okay.
And then if either I work out or I don't,
Yeah.
and then either way at night when I go back to it, I either get to look at that and be like, I did have a, because then it's what were three cool things that happened today.
Yeah, there's your after action report.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then either it's the things that I thought were going to be awesome that day. Sometimes it's some things, and then some things that you didn't expect were going to happen that were just cool.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way.
Mhm.
And then one thing that you learned that day, which I really like as well. But then so every night at the end of the night, you either have to go back to that book and write
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see that you said I wanted to have a good workout today,
Mhm.
and I chose not to work out. It's like,
Yeah, and you should have nightmares that night.
and then you should have
about
some,
it.
you should have Goggins, a nightmare of Goggins saying, "Wake up,
Yeah,
Right.
like in your ear, like wake up.
wake up, get moving."
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a quick break. Again, if I have sponsors, they will play now. If not, you will see us very, very shortly. And we're back. All right. So pivoting a little bit, purpose is something, as we were talking about, that is very important. Literally from a health perspective, I
Mhm.
don't think. I don't. I don't think things that are bad for you. There's nothing on earth, cigarettes, obesity, whatever, that is worse for a person's health than not having a purpose.
Yes. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yes.
We're And if you don't know and you are still trying to figure it out, then that's fine. But like, where do you think your purpose lies, and or what is your purpose, and from what you know?
Yeah. I think like depends on how you boil it down. I think like to its simplest core is like cliche, but helping people, being of use, and like being, your cup is so full you can provide some form of happiness and function to other people. I think that's what it would be. And then if you want to like go more broad, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I think, well, I know that's going to be my like life's route, because if I go into anything else, it's going to make me kind of sad. I already tried that, with like career route and teaching, and it's just not for me. And I know that if I would have stuck with it, like every day I'm not living the life that I want, and it like bothers me. So it would, I don't know, I wouldn't really be happy. And not saying that, you're always going to be happy, but at least, I can wake up every day and go like, I chose to do this. Like I have genuine, passion for this. Yeah. And then along with that,
When you say entrepreneur, what do you mean exactly? Because I feel like that word is a little
pretty broad.
and
Yeah.
means a lot to different people.
Yeah, I don't have a particular like I need to be doing this. Like I want to have some ownership of a business, whether I'm directly on it day to day. I probably wouldn't want to be running it day to day my entire life until I retire. But for like a certain number of years, I'd want to be directly involved in it and then exit. And then basically the end goal is like financial freedom aspect of
Right.
it, which I think that's like probably why a lot of people go into entrepreneurship.
Would you want to do like a product, a service, or you don't know yet?
It's nothing really too specific. You just don't know what works.
Sure.
That's why like I've tried products. I haven't really tried any services yet. But you don't really know. You just have to be right one time. It's kind of how it is. You're wrong a bunch, and then you're right one time. You're successful. Then you're good.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like that. You don't really know. Well, at least for me, like I don't really know. Like, oh, this is gonna be the idea, or this is gonna be like the service. Because I don't know. There's definitely things I need to learn that could then lead me to a product or a service or whatnot. Right. Like I'm still young in that aspect.
Yeah. I think marketing is probably. I feel like most products can be successful with the proper marketing.
I think that's a majority of them. Yeah.
Like Stanley, like the cups that all those
Yeah.
girls have. So found out I was like scrolling on Twitter or something.
It's a really old company now.
Really old company
Yeah.
that was originally marketed towards construction working men because it was a really hardy
Durable.
bottle that would
Yeah.
very durable,
Makes
kept
sense.
your water cold all day while
Mhm.
you were outside in the beating sun, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And like they did okay.
Yeah.
But then as soon as the market hit
Like TikTok.
and
Yeah.
millennial and Gen Z, etc., women,
Yeah.
they grossed more in like 2 years than their entire company's
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah.
history or something, which
Yeah.
is fucking insane because they were a decently successful company for like
Yeah.
almost 100 years.
Which I didn't know about at all.
Most people didn't. They were probably just like, oh yeah, this is like it's a cup. Like
Yeah,
I use
exactly.
it, whatever.
Reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, but they just marketed to a different audience,
Mhm.
released all the pastel colors,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
whatever, and there you go.
Yeah. Well, life is marketing though. Like if you
Oh,
think
yeah.
about it, like you market yourself to a job, you market yourself to
People.
a relationship, people,
Yeah.
friends, right? Like it's all really like how you sell yourself. And like I don't know, if you're not good at socializing, you tend to not have a lot of friends. You tend to have less connections, whatever. So you want to boil it down. Yeah, life is basically marketing.
Going back to what you said a while ago, and within this about like the after review. When I was in high school, like grade 11, grade 12, more grade 12 into first year, I looked at myself and I was like, why do other people in my life get all the things that I want?
Okay.
Why does that guy get that girl?
Yeah.
Why does that dude get that job? Why am I not getting the things that I want? And as soon as you have that thought, you have two avenues. You can woe is me and be like, the problem is everything else.
Yeah. Let me feel
I'm
sorry
just
for
unlucky.
myself. Yeah.
Or you can go, well, what are they doing that are getting them the things that I want? And how can I do them in my own way so that it's still genuine,
Yeah.
but I was also bettering myself. That's when I cut my hair a little differently. I started dressing better. I started getting tattoos. Like I did a lot of physical work. And I feel like now
The mental side has to come in.
yeah, because I think I've gotten to a point where I'm pretty confident in myself when it comes to my appearance. The biggest thing is just being skinny, but I've been in the gym and it's been going pretty well. I need to get better with eating, but I digress. But more so than that, I'm definitely more getting on the I need to improve myself as a character, and I've been doing better, I think. And I think a lot of that is just accepting that until I get to where I'm at, those things aren't going to happen, and that's okay.
But also don't I don't know, that you should have like a sense of urgency with it too every day. You shouldn't be like,
no,
I'll get around to it. Like,
no, but there shouldn't be a sense of urgency in the way. There should be a sense of urgency in the way of I need to do it today, but there shouldn't be in a sense of urgency in the way of it needs to be done by tomorrow.
Yeah, like don't ponder and like, because then you'll just start to feel sorry for yourself.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't achieve it. But like, also to,
don't fuck around.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's my favorite quote from BoJack Horseman, which is, I don't know if have you watched BoJack?
Like one or two episodes. I know people always rave about it. Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes from it is, "It gets easier. The hard part is doing it every day." Or you just need to do it every day. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And it's true. If you like the one thing, and it's such a stupid thing that I use to remind myself of what you can accomplish over a year is my left arm. Because if you just look at me like straight on wearing a t-shirt, you won't really notice.
Yeah.
But when I go to the gym and I work out, my left arm, which is my non-dominant arm, is substantially bigger than my right arm.
Okay.
And that's because as a server, I hold a tray with my left arm.
Yeah,
I hold plates with my left arm.
Oh,
My left arm is my holding arm, and my
yeah.
right arm is my distribution arm. from working in the service industry for about 2 years, I have created a heavy muscle imbalance in my left bicep and tricep from just being in a static hold position.
Yeah.
Just doing that every day. And anytime where I feel like I'm not seeing progress, be it with my body in the way of like my pain situation or in the way of progress in the gym or
anything really.
Yeah. I think about my left arm and I remember about how much can get done in a year if you really think about it.
Yeah.
There's a great movie called Groundhog Day.
I think I might have seen it. Is
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, and for a reminder for you, Bill Murray goes to this town as a reporter and is forced to live out the same day for what seems like eternity. And it doesn't matter how many times he goes to sleep. It doesn't matter if he kills himself, which he does multiple times in the movie.
He's in a video game, pretty much.
Basically, yeah. Every time lights are out, he goes back to square one.
Yeah.
And over the course of the movie, he learns to realize how much you can do with one day. And how much you can do with one day if you spend every day just trying to be a little bit better. By the end of the movie, he's like a piano savant. He gets the girl of his dreams. He does this. He does that. And once he like learns his lesson, he gets out of the simi. But it's a great movie and a reminder that things take time. Yep. Shut up, watch. Things take time.
Did yours also randomly go off, or did you set it?
It goes off at noon.
Yeah, mine does the same thing. I don't know how to shut it off.
Neither do I.
I think you have the same watch as me.
I think so, yeah.
Like Casio, come on.
Crazy. Figure it out. But yeah, and it's a hard, like, we as a society, and especially like the things we grew up with, like fucking porn and TikTok and phones,
just the internet,
everything. The amount of instant gratification that we get on a daily basis, whether we try to limit it or not, is through the fucking roof. And it makes the idea of what you can do in a day or a year seem that much more untrue / impossible, because your brain doesn't recognize it as a reward. So you don't. So it never creates a pathway where you're like, oh, I'll get there.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I like to think, like, when I run races and whatnot, like, I'd always like, I guess, or I compare it when I was like fat. When I was like fat, I'd be like, oh, I could never like run 10 kilometers. Like, I'm gonna literally pass out. But then you do these things and you're like,
no, the
Batman.
Someone's dying. There he goes.
Yeah, like, sorry. Yeah, like it's pretty much you put your own limitations on yourself, and then once you start to realize that, like, you know, things may be hard, but if you at least try, you never know, you may be able to do them. And like, that was a big thing too, becoming like Stoic. Like, you had to like at least tell myself that it was possible, or else I would have never like even tried to.
Well, I that's like, I was gonna say this earlier. Like, that is one of my biggest mantras in life. Period.
Yeah.
Is if you believe that something will not happen,
it won't happen.
It won't happen. No. 100%. Period. Full stop. Done.
Yeah.
And with that, if you truly believe that something will happen, it will.
Yeah.
And I don't.
It won't be as quick as you probably want.
Yeah. But and it's gonna feel
long,
and you may not even realize that it's a thing. But I don't believe in manifestation or prayer or everything. Who's someone?
I think the whole like apartment complex is.
I think the gardener is about to blow up. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. If you stick to, if you truly believe in that something will happen. Oh, that's what it was. I don't believe in manifestation as like a magical juju. I don't believe in prayer as
can be helpful.
A divine thing that just be like, I want this, I'm going to ask God for it, it'll happen. I think all those practices are rewriting your subconscious to do things in your daily life that lead to those things.
Yeah.
When I write my daily affirmations of things that I want to get done, it's not like I put the energy into the world, and now when I go to the
It'll
gym,
magically happen.
it just magically happens.
Yeah.
It's that I'm setting an intention for my day, so my brain wants to make it true.
Yeah, you're laying like little bricks for your wall by the end of the day.
Exactly.
Kind of like how it is. Yeah.
And that goes for women. If you see a girl and you're like, I will never get her. She will never love me. You're right.
Yeah, you are right.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Fully 100%. If you look at a girl and say, I could bag, and you truly believe that,
might not happen.
Might not happen.
Yeah.
But there is a way higher possibility of it happening than you already deciding that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
You gave yourself a true negative, a true zero, a true done. The other guy believes that it can't happen.
Yeah.
Some does mean that it will, but you have a way better chance than the other guy.
Yeah, it's like that. You can apply that to anything. Like, I think like job interviews too. Like you put a lot of pressure on yourself in like these like infrequent scenarios, and then you like, for why? Like, because you don't think you should get it and whatnot. But it's like, I just think it's a normal part of your day at the end of the, like it's just a thing happening in your day at that time. It's
if you walk into a job interview, like there's no way I get this job.
Oh yeah, you're gonna act like like you're gonna be in your head. Yeah. You're gonna be like,
even and that's
quiet, shy. Like I don't know.
I try to force myself with this podcast to escape that, because there's so many things in my brain that says to me, it's not going to be successful. It won't be. Why are you doing it? Like, there's no point. Yeah. Like, give up already. And then I fight it, and I'm like, no, you never know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it can be. I think it could be good. I think I could be good at this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it.
You haven't tried yet. Yeah.
I haven't tried yet, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So I keep trying, and I keep going, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I do believe that it can be successful. And I think that with proper marketing and proper commitment to making it better and whatever, the opportunity is there. But if I told myself from day one when I had the thought to do it, it's not going to work. Never bought any of the equipment to do it, never went about it, then I was right because I didn't try it.
Yeah, Vince likes to say this, but it's like nothing changes if nothing changes. It's kind of like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's my background for anyone who doesn't watch this as a video. Yeah.
What's your like cutoff for the podcast? So it's like if it doesn't, if I don't see any, if I don't see it by like 6 months, it's like worth it. Like what? Yeah. What's your? Or have you not thought about it?
I bounce back and forth with it. I think what I'm basically going to do is, because I think regardless of the success until this date, and what's going on in my life, I'm gonna end up going back to school in September to do some psychology stuff, and I think that doing that kind of stuff, considering the kind of podcast that I have and the way and how I want to present it and the way that I want people to feel on it, all the rest of it, I feel like having the knowledge that school would give me in those fields would only make it better.
Yeah.
So I think the true end date is when I run out of people to talk to.
Will you ever run out of people, though?
So here's the thing.
Rogan's
yes and no.
Still talking to like 3,000 people later.
You're
Obviously,
right.
It's more famous, but
that's the thing. If by the time that I run out of people in my life currently / at the time that are willing to talk to me, I haven't amassed enough of an audience or enough influence to start getting more people of more influence, kind of thing, then I'll have to consider being like, well, am I just going to keep talking to the same X amount of people? Which, like, listen, like in theory, I can have people on multiple times, and we can talk about multiple things, which I would probably do either way. But like, if I go through 50 people, like a year's worth of people doing one a week, and I haven't amassed enough of an audience to get like random shoddy with 20K on TikTok who lives in Toronto to come on,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, but that's not who you'd want on the podcast though. I thought you want it to be like, or do you just want it to be like a general podcast, or do you want to then kind of guide it towards something that you're going to help for your career? Which I think you should, but that's just my 2 cents.
yeah,
I think you should be, they should showcase your, your skills, your ability to speak basically.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be like, oh, like, am I pondering using Phil's services as a counselor, whatever you end up doing?
yeah,
This may help me because they have like some social proof.
yeah. I mean, listen, like,
And not
yes,
have like dumb conversations, have like actual like,
Yeah.
interpersonal conversations, right? Like, or intellectual, I should say.
100%. Like, yes, and it's not that when I say shoddy that has 20K on TikTok, I don't want to just find some random biddy with no personality that has 20K on TikTok, but
You mean
more
he's like a famous person?
or like I'm just saying like some people with influence or people that I
Okay.
don't directly know, because it'd be really hard to find a girl with like, or a person with like 300 followers on TikTok that I don't know and try to convince them to be like, hey, I have a podcast.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
seem random. So I'm just saying someone who
It's gonna help you.
has enough, well, it's more of like someone who has enough influence or popularity that I can see their profile, gather enough about their personality that I think they would be a cool person to talk to, and then reach out to them with enough of my own following that they would actually reply to me.
Yeah, but then aren't you kind of taking it from like a limited approach? Because let's say you do become a counselor or psychotherapist, whatever, you don't really get to handpick the people you're
right.
It's your job. You kind of have to learn to speak to them, right?
Oh,
So
listen, I
when
can
it-
speak to anyone about anything,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, in the logistics of getting people to do this. I mean, so like people who are seeking out counselor help are seeking counselor help.
Yeah.
Random people on TikTok aren't necessarily trying to get onto a podcast,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So it's difficult to just know who would be willing. And with that said, I could just spam message
Yeah.
like every single person that I see on TikTok and be like, hey, would you like to do this? Hey, would you like to do this? Hey, would you like to do this? Hey, just spend an hour every day just spamming people, being like,
Yeah.
would you like to do this?
I think you should.
And it would hit eventually. But and that's a great example of like a limitation that I put on myself as an out that really has a solution to it. So as for right now, there is no finite date that is the end where I'm like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
But there are definitely limitations and things that would definitely make me reconsider doing it / deter me, unmotivate me, whatever. And I don't know when it'll be too much for to continue to persevere through.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have to happen specifically for me to throw in the towel, but I'll be very honest with you and myself. I feel like the most likely situation that occurs is I just get lazy and there wasn't actually a problem.
Yeah, so why don't you like set a goal for yourself right now? Like, this is January, so why don't you set a goal like by December, whether it, nobody watches a single episode, you get it for your like personal gratification that I don't know, it's like a realistic number of podcasts you could produce by December. At least
I think
2 a month.
listen, I'm aiming for 4 a month.
So let's say 3.
Let's say 3 a month.
Okay. So
I'm not going to include January.
So you'll have.
So
we'll say 30 by the end of the year.
30 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you like write it down on your, I don't know.
Yeah, by December I want
put
to
it
done
somewhere.
30 to 40
Put it like frame it on the wall so you see it every day, and so at least like subconsciously you're like, oh, I gotta do.
You're 30% more likely to do something if you write it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's
And then at least you'll feel better at the end of the year because it's like, okay, I didn't may have, not got the viewers I wanted, but like
I did
it. Yeah, exactly. Like this is a W for me. Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like if you look at guys like Mr. Beast, for example,
Yeah.
he was making consistent
he was
YouTube videos
Oh yeah.
for like 8 to 10 years before he hit a million subscribers.
Nobody believed in him but him. Yeah.
Matt Rife,
the comedian. Yeah.
Say what you will about him, his opinions on things, but he was doing comedy like for pennies for again like 10 years before he started being able to make a living off of it and got famous and popular for it. Like people are like, oh, like he's lucky, he's good looking, whatever. Yeah, sure, like that plays a factor.
Yeah.
But you can't say Buddy didn't put in the work.
No, I think Rogan's been doing it for like at least 15, 20 years. Like,
well, I mean, Rogan was
same route. He was a comedian.
He was a comedian. Then Fear Factor.
Oh yeah, Fear Factor. Yeah, definitely helped. But I'm saying like he still stuck to it for like quite a bit of time.
Oh
you
yeah.
just have to like basically stick to it for.
And he's still going.
Yeah. A lot of comedians though like that. That's like a recurring theme. Like they're basically nobody, and then if they get popular, But they basically go through it for a number of years.
Yeah, and if they make it, they end up going through. They either have their SNL phase or their rom-com phase, or both.
Yeah, or both.
Like you have like Jimmy Fallon, who comedian, SNL, rom-coms, talk show host. Joe Rogan, comedian, TV show host.
Yeah.
Podcast host. And like what's his nuts? The guy in he did a movie with Jessica Alba. Good Luck Chuck. I forget what the actor's name is.
Is that Matthew McConaughey?
No, he's
Good
not a
Luck
comedian.
Chuck. Why am I?
I forget what his name is. But he was comedian, was handsome, got into a rom-com phase, was a writer on a few things, and now he's
you end up doing it all.
Yeah. I'm trying to skip the comedian phase and just go straight to the host phase.
You don't want to be a comedian?
I think I'm a funny guy, but I don't think I'm a comedian funny. Like, I'm not like hey, so I was walking down the street and I saw this guy.
Oh, Dan Cook,
yeah. And then he like produces some bunch of stuff and whatever.
Yeah. I feel like naturally you'll end up dabbling in other stuff though if the podcast takes off.
Oh, I mean, like if I start seeing viewership, I would hire like a social media manager.
Yeah.
And I would be like, make me an influencer. Like, let's just do all the things. Get me the Instagram brand deals. Get my follower count. Tell me what I gotta do. Put me on interviews. Get me on other podcasts. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, but I think you'd still have to. Do you want to brand yourself revolving around your like career line of work, or do you want it to be separated? Like,
what do you
want
exactly?
to be known as like the like therapist guy, podcast guy, or you just want to be like the dude who has a podcast?
No, I want to be known as like
Is the branding so important? Because then that's how people remember you.
Yeah, I want to be remembered as, or looked at as, the emotionally intelligent, self-betterment therapist podcast guy.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to again. Yeah, like I that's what I would probably want to be known as primarily, and then turn into an influencer, and then do like the like why are these things important to you? It's like, well, if I really care about helping people and showing people that they can have anything they want in their life if they realize that life comes from you, not at you, which is a great Timothy Chalamet quote. I would want to be like mental health is something that's very important to me, and doing better and wanting the best in life and human interactions and social constructs and relationships and all the rest of it. Those are all things that I just really enjoy speaking on, and I would love to be known as the social psychology podcast guy, more or less.
Yeah, and it's like a good thing to like pick. So it's like your niche almost. Yeah.
So like I would say like that's like from a lot of podcasts that I've seen, you have like very right wing views, very left wing views, And I feel like a lot of the people who have similar, want to talk about similar things that I talk about or I want to be talking about are predominantly women.
I think that's just your like go-to based on like where you're living now. I feel like that has a lot of influence because there's like you were talking about before. It's just predominantly like group of women to be friends with.
No, sorry, not in my life. I'm saying like in other like social media, like things that produce. So I'm saying like there's people like call her daddy as like big on relationships. You have like
a lot of the like I don't know men centric podcasts don't really go into those topics. I guess.
Yeah, it's more most of the like the men targeted podcasts are more on the of like the do better,
like self improvement,
but like from more of like a more of like an aggressive like this is how you make money, this is how you be your best self. Yeah, where like I'm trying to like I respect that.
You're trying to walk the line a little bit.
But I want to walk the line a little bit. Okay. I want to be like, hey man, like yeah, we can do better. But like I understand. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can reconstruct. And I always want to be able. One of the reasons that it's called the devil's therapist is because I always want to be able to, regardless of who I'm talking to, always play the opposite view, and then bring it back on them, not from a want to argue, but from a want of wanting to see if they have the answers to questions when presented. Where it's like, I believe that we should be better. Why? Well, because you live longer, you're healthier, you're gonna be happier. It's like okay, thank you for the answer.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a very base way to look at it, but yeah. So I'd say that's the goal. And if I do end up in counseling and psychology and all the rest of it, and that's where my career goes, and that's where my career goes, whatever.
Why are you saying that? Because you don't know if you'll finish it, or
no, just more so. If this does take off and the social media stuff, then I won't go into that, or at least I'll stop to see how deep this well goes.
Okay.
And then if I make more money than I know what to do with, then I probably don't have to go back into counseling.
Yeah, but what do you really want to do though? Like, what's your like? Is it the podcast or is it like counseling? Like, what's the? What's the real? Like,
I would rather do this than be a counselor, only for the fact that I feel like people who I'm counseling would be more like I have issues that need to be talked about. Please help me.
Yeah.
Which I want to be able to help people and talk to people about things, but I also want it to be a little bit more lighthearted and not always be so centric on specifically like let me help you through your mental health issues. I want that to be a part of it, 100%, because I enjoy talking about those things and giving different perspectives. But I feel like
you don't want to take on the responsibility.
Not even that. It just I don't think that. Like put it this way, I feel like I don't think it's entertaining, and I don't think it's as fun to be a counselor.
Like for your personal enjoyment.
Exactly. Of like what because I don't always want to be talking about mental health struggles. Okay. Like what I talked to you, like what me and you talked about today, had to do with things that are good for you, struggles, whatever. But it wasn't like I am depressed. Help me, brother.
Yeah, I think I guess you can kind of cherry pick like who you take on as clients, like, but there's no getting around it. You'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, like I don't want to say I enjoy that stuff because that sounds a little bit funky, but like that is like I'm passionate about that stuff, and it would be so fulfilling to help these people through very tough times. But the people that I'm having on, that I would want to have on aren't necessarily. That's not the only thing that I want to talk about. I feel like if I do that, it's going to be very, very psychology and mental health and struggle centric, whereas there's a lot of social things and social psychology things that I would want to talk about to people that I wouldn't get the opportunity to with that.
Yeah.
And also, like, if I'm being so for real, it'd be pretty cool to be famous.
I was just going to ask, I was like, do you want to be famous? That's kind of like where I pick up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another fact of the matter. Because
Does that just stem back to your like wanting to get attention, what you're talking about before when you're
probably
yeah
yeah love me some attention.
Do you feel like that'll ever go away, or that's like a part of you?
I think
Like that's something to
I think
work on, or
I
that's
think
you?
to an extent, and the levels vary between people. But I think within reason, literally everything that humans do all the time
Mm-hmm.
is to an extent for attention
Yeah.
or validation, for that matter,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
stemming from sex.
Like from a primal mating perspective, yeah, it's
Yeah.
all really from that. Yeah.
Where it's like, I am a man who I want attention to show off the things that I'm capable of and what I've done. Look at me and decide my worth as a mate. Women don't get attention. They're like, well, I'm not getting attention from this guy, so I'm gonna go get it from this guy to feel validated. And
Yeah, everyone wants to feel wanted.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the more people that want you, the nicer it feels. It's probably a slippery slope and an addicting feeling with that as well.
And check your ego.
Oh yeah. Well, my ego has tend to be a problem many a time in my life that I regularly need to check. Switching gears for the last thing that I want to bug you about. This is something that you wanted to talk about. Do you have any plans of dipping out of the province or the country or whatever to do anything? And if so, how do you think you would navigate losing/keeping your life here in your life if you wanted to?
Yeah, I feel like I can go on and on about it, but like the short form is like I'm not set on a specific place, but it just seems harder and harder to form a life here the longer like like just in terms of like housing affordability and like everything. It just seems like I've been priced out of my childhood, like basically country or like area, however you want to phrase it. And it's like, oh, like where should I look to now? I don't know. Like in terms of my goals of like what I want to, what I'd want for like my kids and, to own my own house and this and that. Like it doesn't seem like
plausible.
it doesn't seem plausible. And I don't want to live like 14 hours away in Sudbury or like some far place and like, just to kind of stay close to the GTA, but it's not the same because like winter 10 months of the year there. So I don't know, like it's Europe kind of looks like the most promising. I don't know where in Europe, but it seems like it'd be the most promising. And also too, like I'm just a big weather guy and I want it to be like primarily hot where I'm living. So
Europe's interesting. Depending on what you're doing, I get it. Have you seen the housing prices in like North Carolina?
No. Why is it like? Is it like
So
Texas?
Good. Yeah. Like $300,000 USD can get you like a 4-bed, 4-bath, like half
it's tempting,
an acre.
but then you live in North Carolina and don't break your leg because you're going to debt.
Yeah. That's the whole thing with the States.
Depends how well off
everything
you are.
is cheaper.
Yeah, but there's a price.
But life is more expensive.
Yeah.
So there's give and take with that. Would you ever consider like, I mean, yeah, if you're a big weather guy, then I get why not. But like a different province, like Calgary or something.
Yeah, I've also considered it too because it seems like appealing with the prices. But then like now, I think everyone's deciding to go that route. So I feel like the prices are slowly increasing too there. I feel like it'll just end up being a Toronto in 20 years because everyone will be like, let's just go there.
Yes, but like, I feel like if you were to go like soon, then you could beat that, and then you
if I could
sell
beat it,
there,
make
exactly,
money
and come back if you wanted to.
I think my biggest life regret is not saving my birthday money in grade 3 and buying a house. Like that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, the $300 really could have.
Yeah, like I could have got so much back then.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, my sister got into the market actually.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her. But
how old is she?
She's 2 years older than me, so 2 years older than you. Yeah. Yeah, like But here's the thing, and I don't know too much about like what you spend your money on or how much money you make, but she makes decent money. Nothing crazy. She makes good money, but like nothing like, excuse me. And her husband the same. So dual income also helps from that perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't do fucking anything.
Like going out and whatnot?
They don't go out.
Well, can they afford to?
Yeah, they just
Okay.
like I'm saying for a long time, my sister was working full time, getting her paychecks, doing her things, and she just never spent money. She would spend like $40 on like overalls and be freaking out about it for a week. So they had a lot of money saved up by the time they bought. But they were able to do it, and now they're in the market, and they should be able to stay in the market for however. So you can do it, but also like I'm not going to get into it too deeply. But if you knew how much they paid for what they got, you'd be like,
huh? And also too, it just seems like to you, or an outside perspective, they're not like living life to the fullest, and maybe they can't because like they can't go and spend, you know, when they want to. So it's also that too, like, you know.
I mean, they're fine to spend money if they wanted to, but that's also because.
But aren't they a prisoner to their own mind if they feel bad about it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things where like, they have the money to do it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Just most of the time they just don't want to do it, which results in them having a surplus of money to not do things with.
Yeah, but it makes them feel good, I guess.
Yeah, and like they're happy and they're doing their thing, so it's whatever. Yeah, like other than potentially moving to BC,
yeah,
I don't see myself.
Why BC? Because you like high rent?
I like BC. It's nice.
Yeah, it is very like scenic.
The weather for Canada speaking is nice too.
Yeah,
it rains a lot.
It just rains, yeah.
But it never gets as cold and it never gets as hot, which I enjoy. And I just like I like from what I've seen about like the
coast,
the social I don't want to say construct, social culture there, coastline, nature. There's a lot of things about BC that I enjoy, and I think it's technically slightly cheaper than Toronto, depending on where you're going. With that said,
yeah.
But I don't really ever see myself. Again, it depends on the trajectory of my life. Living outside of the like settling down outside of the GTA.
Okay.
But I mean, like, who knows what's going to be a bumping area in 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
Like when I'm ready to do that, or however long it takes me to get to that point.
I guess with the podcast, you can live anywhere, right? So.
Yeah. Again, if this takes off, then you never know, right? Maybe I'll end up living in LA for all I fucking know. But listen, I love my friends with my whole heart and my soul, and I never want to not have them in my life. But I think like if I was married for say, and the only reason to stay here was my friends and my family, I'd probably leave. I come back regularly to like visit family and to see people and all the rest of it. But if me and my wife look at our life, because at the end of the day, that's the person you're going to be living your life with. Yeah. And you say it makes sense for us to go here. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard, especially like it's so demoralizing being in our age demographic. Fuck, what happens when we wake up before 11? Being in our age demographic and knowing how hard it is going to be for us to get into the market.
Oh yeah, it gets harder every year. Yeah.
In theory, the market's got to crash eventually.
I don't think so.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
But in theory, it has.
In theory, yeah. On paper, it should, but in reality, it probably won't. Yeah.
Not anytime soon, anyway.
Not anytime soon, at least. Yeah.
I mean, hilarious enough with all the immigrants coming in, I think it's like 400,000 people left Canada this year.
Yeah, but I think they know that they're just trying to replace as much as like people are leaving. So it's like, what's,
Well, but most of the people that are leaving are also immigrants because they're coming here, coming to get jobs and get better lives and whatever. And like, yeah, we got healthcare. Yeah, it's like whatever. But they're realizing that it's cold here and everything is bloody expensive to the point that they're like, it doesn't make sense for us to be here. So
yeah, there's like this, like, I don't know where it's being marketed as, but it's like this, like the Canadian dream. Like, it's like, where it at?
Literally, like it's trying to be.
Everyone's
like,
basically in the same position if you think about it. Like, you know, we're all just like struggling.
Yeah.
It's not really anything, you know?
We're trying to be like the States in like the early 1900s.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's just not the same.
No, it's not the same at all.
The only way that we can make it the same is, and I was talking to my dad about this, is if we like ship them off, or like any immigrants that come in would have to live in the most unpopulated parts of Canada for the first decade that they're in the country. It's like a part of their visa, so we establish more of our country.
There's no infrastructure outside the like populated areas, yeah, so no one wants to move there to begin with. Like if they were to put money into like, I don't know, any far place, like, yeah, I'd consider moving there, because it's like I'm not, you know, have one grocery store and like one gas station, and you know,
a 10-mile radius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it'd be more enticing to everyone.
Like if they spend some real time like in Alberta or Edmonton, or I mean Alberta's decent and Edmonton's okay, but even a lot of those provinces, there's so much land in those provinces that is absolutely nothing. If they built up the prairies to the same extent that they built up Southern Ontario,
yeah,
or
everyone
even if they built up Northern Ontario,
to
the same
I'd consider
degree,
it, yeah.
Then, yeah, but the thing is, people come here, and our population everyone
all
wants
the jobs
to be
are
in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, it's where the job market is.
So until the government starts beefing up the rest of the country, the problem is never going to get solved.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you like Canadian housing crisis conversations.
Yeah,
you clicked on the right podcast.
A real estate podcast. Yeah,
we're just become mongers. That's hilarious. Well, Mike, where am I at actually? Before I say
we're
that,
due.
Yeah, we are due. Perfect. Thanks for coming on. I think it was we had a good chat today. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoyed your Toronto tap water.
Yes, I already feel my stomach good. So nice.
Fair enough. To everyone out there, Mike is going to be staying mostly anonymous, so don't go fuck with him. As well, if you have any questions about anything Mike and I talked about that you want me to touch on later, or any questions in general, or anything you want me to talk about in future episodes, let me know. You can email me, you can comment, you can do all that fun stuff. Do you think you're going to buy a house in the town that you grew up in, or do you think you're going to have to get shipped off somewhere else? Do you think, what do you believe that you can achieve? What do you believe that you can achieve? Blanket statement. And
go run 10 miles right now.
Go run 10 miles right now. Thanks, Mike.
It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. This has been Philip the Devil's Therapist podcast. And as always, peace and love.